Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Subrata Sarkar. I'm a mechanical engineer working in manufacturing industry since last 22 years. Today I'm going to share the subject NLP. NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. It is a part of the advanced communication. Before going into this technicality of the subject, I have to share some views so that you can understand actually which area actually this subject is addressing. A Hindu is programmed to believe in life after death. In the same way, a Christian or a Muslim is programmed to believe in hell and heaven, isn't it? A terrorist is programmed to believe in horror of killing. A poor man is programmed to believe in his fate. And a communist is programmed to be believe against Congress or BJP in India, I'm telling, or the vice versa. So this is basically programmed means there are a lot of input comes actually in our brain from the surrounding, and that set inside our brain until some new powerful program comes, and accordingly our behavior, our feelings, our thought works, which basically called programming in our brain. And the subject neuro-linguistic programming means this is a thinking pattern, the code actually, this is a coding of the brain of outside informations, thinking pattern, the effects of thinking like that is actually neuro. Neuro is basically your brain, and linguistic means languages. It's not the English or French language, like body language, persuasive language, paralanguage, mind's language. And programming means what is set in your mind. So this is neuro-linguistic programming is basically your expertise of the knowledge inside your brain, and it changes when you communicate to some people. Depending on the situation, you change your communication to get some desired result. This is what is neuro-linguistic programming. You all know that we have 5 sensory organs, isn't it? One is eye, there's visual, there's the ear, there's the auditory, and there are rest 3. One is the tactile, that is our touching, and there is the olfactory, that is our nose, and another is the tongue, that is gustatory. This is gustatory, olfactory, and our touch, that is tactile, all together called kinesthetic. So basically, there are 3 category of people in this world. Either the person's natural preferred sense will be visual, or the leading sense, you can say, auditory or kinesthetic. The objective of learning this subject NLP is to identify yourself. What is your category? Are you a visual person, or an auditory or kinesthetic person, or the person on the other side? Your colleagues, your office bosses, people surrounding your society, your relatives, your spouse, your friends, which type of person they are. And if you can identify, then life will be very much easy for you. And otherwise, life will be very difficult if you don't have idea about this subject or the category of the person. Now, if you don't know physics, chemistry, engineering, doesn't matter to life. But if you don't know these advanced communications basic, it will matter a lot to everyone's life. You will be doing a lot of things, but you will not getting many things in life. This is because you don't know your category and the category of the other person. And many people even doesn't know the name of this subject, this NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, which is every day, every moment needed to our life. Now, a person who are visual actually, basically, the picture is word for them. For example, students are taking lecture of the professor. Some students are same lecture get bored actually. They don't understand what he's telling. And some students are, without noting even, they can know actually what the lecture was. This basically, type of the visual person can don't like this, this non-verbal verbal lecture. Actually, this only text or something, some visual combined. Then they are only get, this only visual get communicated to them, not other programming like text or something. And also these people will speak some typical word, the person who are visual by nature, like this, it appears, it this its outlook is something, you should focus on this, you should observe, you should notice, you should watch. The same but same situation, if a person is not visual, he or she will use some different words to mean the same context or the meaning. And the person who are auditory, actually, their natural preferred sense is hearing. They are not interested to see the pictures or visual. They don't need pictures or visual support to understand. By listening, they can understand much better, actually. Even they don't need doing a lot of notes and all these things. If somebody is saying something, if someone is saying something, they can immediately catch it. This is the quality. And you'll also able to identify this type of person is, most many times they will, eye contact, they will lose eye contact, because they don't need actually to eye contact seeing something. Actually, they need to do more concentration on the hearing or telling something. So telling or listening, that is actually combination of this auditory person. And their typical words are like, it sounds like this, you should mention this, you should listen, you should be more vocal, what is the report, like that. So this is the typical word used by this auditory person. And the kinesthetic person, actually, their natural preferred sense is touching. They can understand anything by touching. There are many people, unnecessarily they touch you and to saying something, but the same communication can be said, by speaking something. So it depends on the category of the person. And there are many professions also. These people, if your profession is according to your natural preferred sense, you can do better. Or reverse is, if you can do, in spite of doing a lot of hard work, you can do excel, actually. For example, if a person is by nature as an auditory person, he or she can do much better in lawyer career. Or a person who is a kinesthetic, actually, this touching feeling, he can be a good gym trainer or maybe a sports guy, like that, actually. Or an auditory person can be a very good singer, actually. They can understand each drop of the sounds, which other people don't. So this is actually, this is important to know this. If you know that, then you will understand the other side of the people, and you can communicate, and you can get the desired outcome of your communication. That's very important, actually. And this is a professional subjects, actually. People can learn and get certified themselves. I did this neuro-linguistic programming certification years back, maybe 8 to 10 years back, and it helps a lot, actually, and daily life, actually. Now, there are other ways other than to the listening some words or something. By the position of the eyeball, you can identify the people. And it's not like that. Like someone is saying something on the upside, eyeball goes up. I'm not saying that. Automatically, in communication, you will find some people's eyeball is moving upward, some people's downward, and some people left or right side. This is depending on the category of the person, like either visual, auditory, or the this kinesthetic. So you can identify the person on the basis of this micro body language. You don't stay much long time, but it goes, the eyeball moves and come back like this, depending on the discussion, activities, or communications. So a person whose eyeballs is going up is basically by visual, actually. And if it is up left side or right side, then is a further classification. Like if someone is seeing some visual years back and trying to remember, eyeball goes upper side left, and someone is trying to create some picture in his mind, so then eyeball goes upper right. So this is the way, actually. So in a simple way, not going to so complexity, if automatically eyeball goes upper side, you can identify the person is a visual person, and eyeball is the horizontal bar on the corner side, then you can find the person is basically auditory. And if eyeball goes on the bottom side, then this is a kinesthetic person. So this is the way also you can identify the people. You can see here in this picture visual the eyeballs location. So according to this eyeball location, you can identify this person is either visual or, but you don't get decisions so quickly. This person is visual, and there are many ways to cross check to get your, because those who are professional or experienced senior person, they can also consciously control their this natural preferences if they want. So you may make some mistake also. So be careful actually to get a final decision the category of the person actually by even dealing with, you know. And there are eyes actually, what I'm saying here, you can see the eyes in the ideal position, neither moving up, not down, not left or right. This is actually called, lying eyes. You can't, you can't catch, this identified actually that person. The person is a very good control over his communication and all these things. When it's intentionally or consciously, but when that same person is unconsciously or doing discussing something, then you can identify it actually, because that is this eye movement comes into reflex action automatically. So there are ways to identify, and there are actually technical, this in during the training program, there are eye movement tracker equipment actually gives so that how your eyes moves depending on the situation, you can see the videos accordingly, then you can identify yourself perfectly what is your category actually. And in this whole world actually, then there is a typical percentage, like 40% people are kinesthetic, 35% people are visual, like that. This is the normal category. Now the question is, as of now, do you know what is your natural preference? Or are you a visual person or an auditory person or kinesthetic person? Ask yourself and get clarified. And most importantly, now the people surrounding you, your colleagues, your friends, your relatives, your office bosses, or other people actually whom you are interacting every day. So are you in a position to identify what is the category of that person? Person is a visual or auditory or a kinesthetic. If you can identify, your life will be much more easy. Hope you have enjoyed this session and the information. If you think these informations are useful, you can subscribe this video by click on the bell icon. You can share this information to your friends or someone you feel. Thank you very much for your attention.